Hello everybody, I'm Jeff, this is Michael, and we are here at Grace Hill Winery. We are just north of Wichita in Whitewater, Kansas, and this morning we are picking grapes. We'll address the elephant in the room first off here. We do both have mustaches. We grow these every year for harvest. It's kind of our homage to the grape gods up there to make sure that they know that we don't take ourselves too seriously and that they will hopefully bless us with a good grape harvest this year. This year in 2020 hasn't been good for a whole lot so far, but as far as the grapes go, that is kind of the exception here. It's been a really good year as far as growing grapes here for us in the vineyard, and today we're kind of bringing in the fruits of our labor, so we're pretty excited about that. Today, we've got a bunch of volunteers here. You can probably see some behind me. So we do volunteer grape harvest here at Grace Hill. So all of our grapes are picked by folks who come out. It's on the weekends through August and September. They come out in the morning and pick for about 2 hours or so. Then we feed them a nice barbecue lunch with some wine. Usually get the bar open about 10:30 in the morning. Life is pretty good. We have about 5,000 vines here. We should get about 25 to 30 tons depending on the year from our vineyard. It does take depending on the grape, anywhere between 2 and 5 pounds per bottle, basically, is kind of how that works.
We got a bunch of different varieties, some white, some red, skewing more towards the reds anymore. We have all drip irrigation, so even during the hot, dry summer like this year, we can keep the plants nice and healthy and keep those grapes ripening right along. We'll harvest for about 7 weekends each year because each of the grape varietals gets ripe at different points in the season.
So most of what we grow here is Midwest varietals, so stuff is going to survive our Kansas climate. So not necessarily grapes that are super well known internationally, but stuff we think stuff that grows really well here and stuff that we kind of see it as sort of the Wild West. What's what we kind of like about growing grapes in Kansas is that there's not a lot of history about it, and there's not sort of like a textbook of what to do. You go to Burgundy and they're going to grow 2 different types of grapes. You come to Grace Hill Winery, we're going to grow about 12 different types of grapes. So like these are our Chamberson here today. So this is kind of an example of some wine grapes here. The wine grapes you can see are going to be a little bit smaller than like your table grape that you'd get at a grocery store. They do have seeds in them. They have a little thicker skins as well. And that's where the tannins come from when you drink kind of those dry red wines that are really grippy.
We're picking grapes here today, which is a labor of about 3 years to get from first planting the grapevines to actually harvesting for the first time. We'll plant them, we'll let them grow up the wire, try to get some arms, some cordons out the first year. The second year, they usually try to produce fruit. So we'll cut that fruit off, drop it to the ground, let the plant keep growing its roots, get stronger cordons, and then the third year we'll actually start fruiting the vines.
It's supposed to last about 25 to 30 years or so. But a lot of these grapes haven't been grown in Kansas that long, so we're still kind of trying to figure that out. Our oldest ones here were planted in 2005. Like we got some of our Norton this morning, which were kind of our first planting we did here in this vineyard. And so it would have taken the 3 years, to put on the grapes there. And then this is what their 13th harvest since then, and they still seem to be going pretty strong. Well, it'll be interesting to see kind of how much longer they produce and how much they produce as the years go on, basically.
Hi there, I'm Michael McGuire. I'm the winemaker here at Grace Hill Winery. Been doing it for about 4 years now, and I'm going to walk you through kind of from the vineyard. Now we're in the production facility, how wine's made. So first we'll fill up the grapes in a big macro bin, holds about 800 pounds of grapes. We'll then tip that onto our sorting table, pick out any MOG material other than grapes. Could be grape forks that people left in, leaves, or just unripe grapes. From there they'll go into our crusher to stemmer, which knocks off the berries, crushes the grapes a little bit, and shoots the stems out the back end. For our white grapes, we'll send them straight to the press. For red grapes, we go, instead of to the press, we go back into a macro bin, where the grapes will start the fermentation so they can sit on their skins. Every day we'll go through twice, punch down, reincorporate those skins into the juice becoming wine, and releasing the CO2 to allow some more oxygen in to keep that fermentation going. And the press will press all the juice out. After about an hour and a half, inside will be called cake, will be all dry. From there, we can go into tanks or barrels with the red wine. All told, usually for our sweet wines, it's about 8 months from harvest that we had today to when they'll go into the bottle for sale. For our dry wines, the barreled wines, from harvest to bottling will be anywhere from 12 to about 30 months.
So we've skipped ahead about a month or so here. We got all the grapes harvested off the vines. Everything's gone into tanks, barrels, depending on what we're doing with it. And so things have kind of settled down a little bit, and we're going to be doing actually some bottling today. This is our bottling system. We've been using it for basically since the winery opened. This is what we had, back in 2007 when we bottled our first wines. And so it's a pretty simple process. The bottles are going into the bottling machine there. There's a hose that's hooked up to a tank, which runs through a filter, and then off the hose up into the top of the bottling machine. And from there, it fills the tank on top, and you kind of put bottles underneath, and gravity does the rest for you. Fills them right up to that 750 milliliter level that we're looking for. And from there, they go into our corker machine, which is basically powered by an air compressor. Just takes a little piston and just pushes the cork right down into the bottle. After that, it goes into our capsular, which is just a little heat shrink capsule. So you just got to put it in there for a second, and just shrinks the capsule right on top there. We have a bunch of different colors, so we do that with. And then we also do the labeler as we kind of take the bottles and basically they come on a roll and we kind of hand label them on there. This was a really good system for us up until about 3 years ago. We started making more wine than what we could really handle on this system. We can do about 20 to 25 cases an hour or so on this one. Now what we do is we actually have a bottling truck come in. So there's a guy in Missouri, he's got about a 35-foot trailer. In the back of that trailer is a whole bottling line. So basically you pump wine in one side, it comes out the other side, corked, capsuled, bottled, labeled. So that one works a lot better for us. We can get basically our whole winery labeled in about 6 calendar days in a year. So it's been, that one you do about 150 cases an hour or so. So a lot more efficient than what we're able to do here. The setup's a lot less. It's a little bit more of a stressful process getting all the wine ready at one time as opposed to the 50 gallons more or less that we're doing today. But it's been a really good system for us to kind of really get a lot more wine into bottles that way. So we're in our tasting room here. Usually we do tastings and tours. It being a pandemic, we can't really do tours right now. But we are doing tastings, so we've gone to by appointment here this year. So anytime from noon to 6, Thursday through Monday, you can make your tasting appointment, come on out, hang out, do a tasting of we have a sweet flight, a dry flight, and then our cellar series flight. And so those take about 30 minutes or so to go through. We also have all of our patio open as well. So you can come out if you don't want to make it a tasting appointment, don't want to do the formal sit-down appointment. Maybe you've been out here before and tried all the wines, you know what you like. You can get a bottle or a glass. We also have little flight boards as well. And grab one of those and head out to the patio. Just kind of enjoy the peace of the country here and the beautiful vineyard overlooking while you enjoy some wine that was made right here on site.